Hello and welcome to another episode of the Agile Recruiter podcast. It's a platform where I share my insights as a recruiter while also learning from other recruiters, their achievements, and the challenges that they face within the industry. In this episode of the podcast, I wanted to talk about something that I've seen a lot happen recently, and unfortunately, that is redundancies. Now, there's a lot of things that come into play as to why these redundancies are happening at the moment, so such a high number of them. And there's a lot of things to talk about when, in terms of the steps that we can take to avoid these redundancies in the future. However, in this episode of the podcast, what I really wanted to talk about was navigating your life after a redundancies, both from a personal aspect as well as a plan of attack for a new potential job search. So I've got my notes in front of me. Let's get into it. But before we do, what I really wanted to acknowledge was that losing your job or being made redundant is a really stressful and traumatic experience. You're going to go through a whole list of emotions, and it's really important to acknowledge those emotions and find healthy ways to manage those emotions. Like different things work for different people. You could exercise, you could meditate, you could journal. Again, different things work for different people. If you still find yourself struggling or difficult, finding it difficult to sort of co-op, I would suggest seek professional help. You could reach out to counselors, you could reach out to people within your friends and family circle. Just don't suffer in silence. With that being said, let's jump into it. First, from a personal aspect. So, as I was mentioning, take time to process your emotions. You're going to feel sad, you're going to feel angry, you're going to be stressed. Don't dive into toxic positivity, don't dive into or don't downplay the situation, don't sugarcoat it. You have a right to be angry. Don't jump on LinkedIn, write a post about how it's been an amazing journey and you're so grateful and helpful. It's okay to be angry. It's okay just to take your time, take a step back from everything and process what you're going through. Um, I would say take the time that you need. Um, doesn't mean that you need to like the next minute jump on LinkedIn or social media to announce that you're open for a job. Really sort of have a look at your entire situation and come up with a plan of attack from there. The second thing I would say that is really important is assess your financial situation. So redundancies can have a major impact on your finances, especially if you, let's say, like the sole owner of the family, whatever your situation is. So it's really crucial to assess this as soon as possible. So what could really help is creating a budget, outlining your essential bills or prioritizing your essential bills such as mortgage, rent, and whatnot. You could also look into things that you or entitlements that you have, like unemployment benefits. You could also look into basically negotiating it with your providers. For example, if you've got an energy provider, call them up, try to negotiate a cheaper deal. If in terms of your mortgage, you could call your bank up, try to negotiate a lower interest rate, or see if you could get a better interest rates somewhere. There's always things that you can do. So really focus on things that are within your control. Create a budget, like I said, create an action plan, and really take this seriously. The next thing I would say that is really important is build your skills and increase your network. In terms of building skills, I would say consider taking new courses or just like reskilling yourself for new opportunities. You could, in terms of networking, you could attend industry events. There's so many events or groups happening on the Meetup app. There's groups on LinkedIn. There's groups on Facebook. You could be part of a bigger community if you already like aren't. So always attend these events because it's not just in terms of it doesn't really not just help you in terms of learning new things, new ways of working, and all that, but it also helps you in meeting new people from different backgrounds, from different industries. And you really get to know a lot more about your space. What I would also say is stay, again, don't dive into toxic positivity, but stay positive and persistence. And what I mean by that is job searching is a really long, lengthy, and tiring process. So set realistic goals for yourself, apply for a certain number of jobs each week. Don't just apply for anything. Don't, like spray and pray. I would say because you've got that time, really customize your resume in accordance to the job ad, in accordance to the organization. Look into the organization, see how their value aligns with what you're looking for, how their value aligns with where you want to be in the future, and really sort of make that resume stand out because that's what you want to do in this scenario. I would also suggest celebrate small wins. in terms of like if you've got a phone screening, if you've made it to the interview, if you've been invited for a coffee catch up. These are all small wins that you need to record and celebrate. And when I say record, it's really important that when you're applying for jobs, always apply for relevant jobs. And what I mean by that is, for example, if there's a job that's not in an industry that you've ever worked with, had no exposure in, but you've applied for it, you know that 99% chance that you will get rejected for that job. So don't set yourself up for failure and don't go through that because that is going to really demotivate you. So really be selective in where you're applying, make sure that it aligns with what you want, where you've worked, what you're looking for. Um, the other thing that I would really say is in terms of a personal approach, not much that I can add on from what I've already said, but always tap into your current network. Like even your current manager or your former manager now might have a network that you can tap into. Always ask if they've got people out there are aware of any opportunities. Some organizations go as far as to providing workshops on resume writing, interview tips, and whatnot. Really lean into that stuff. Um, Make sure that you know that support that is available to you and how you can access it. Again, like I mentioned, the other thing is update your resume, cover letter, and really customize it in accordance to the job ad. Really highlight your achievements, your successes, things you've worked on, projects that you've pulled off that will really help you stand out. Um, the a job search doesn't necessarily mean like you're jumping on job boards like Seek, Indeed, and whatnot. There's other alternative job strategies that you could do. Um, like I mentioned, you could go to meetups. You can go to industry events, you can go to job fairs, you could even join groups on Facebook and whatnot. They're always posting, looking for this person. If you know anyone in this space, please let me know. Great way to connect with new people. In the end, I would say is it's really important to stay positive throughout your job search. Losing a job can be really challenging, but it's important to stay focused on the opportunities that you have in front of you. um, really celebrate your achievements and the progress that you're making, and remember that rejection brings you one step closer to finding the right role for you. That's all I had for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It'd be great if you could show your support by following me on YouTube and Spotify. But thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.